Uh-oh, we got some potential trouble between President Donald Trump and Mark Esper. And before we go to Esper's comments about the military in American cities, let's clarify a couple things. One, Donald Trump said it would be a last resort. He said it would be if these cities do not take the reins on these things, start protecting their people, he would step in and do it. Two, I'm the one who didn't love the idea. Remember, I told you all this yesterday. I don't love the idea, and I don't love the idea for this reason. One, I'm not even sure that's legal. Two, you really don't want the President of the United States to be able to order the American military to just operate on American soil. That's no go. But three, and this is the most important part, the American military is not trained for many of these actions. They're not made to do it. Don't get me wrong, they're well trained. They're very capable. These guys are some amazing warfighters now, especially since we've been stuck fighting somewhere for 20 years. We have experience, we have good leadership. However, it is not the mission of, say, a Marine Corps infantry platoon to stand on the street, to stop looters. You probably do not want to know what the United States Marine Corps infantry would do to stop looters. I don't think we need that in American cities, especially at a time where, my word, what do we do with this devastation? We are divided. I don't think we need even more dead Americans than we already have laying on American streets. That was my only point. I'm not sitting here blasting away at President Trump about it because I understand why he did what he did, and part of me agrees. I mean, part of me does agree. If you're the President of the United States and you're watching an amazing city like New York City burn, and we have the mayor, that idiot de Blasio of New York City, who's openly working against his own police officers. We'll talk about that later on. What are you supposed to do as president? You have the city that may be the biggest symbol of America to all the world on fire. How long can you let that go? Probably not too long. Nevertheless, Mark Esper stood up today, said this.
I've always believed and continue to believe that the National Guard is best suited for performing domestic support to civil authorities in these situations in support of local law enforcement. I say this not only as Secretary of Defense, but also as a former soldier and a former member of the National Guard. The option to use active duty forces in a law enforcement role should only be used as a matter of last resort and only in the most urgent and dire of situations. We are not in one of those situations now. I do not support invoking the Insurrection Act.
Well, that's going to be a problem. You see, even though part of me agrees with Mark Esper, although I would argue some of these cities are in dire situations and about to be. We'll get to some of those reasons in a minute. You still can't say that, bud. I'm sorry, have we completely lost how the chain of command works in the United States of America anymore? I mean, are people unaware of this? I work for the First, right? That's who I work for. I'm glad you all enjoy the show. I'm glad you tune in every single night after the Bill O'Reilly show now. I'm glad. At 9 p.m. Eastern, every single night, I'm here. You got Bill at 8 p.m., you got me at 9, everybody's through it. My emails are filling up. Everybody loves it. It's good, right? But I still work for the First. I don't own the First. I'm not in charge of the First. I'm not allowed to get up there on camera somewhere and say, man, I got to tell you, the First kind of sucks. Wait, what? One, they don't, so I don't have to worry about saying that. But two, why do American employees now think they can trash their boss? You're Mark Esper. You work for the President of the United States of America. You serve at his behest. With the snap of his fingers, you're gone. If you have a disagreement with the President of the United States, and by the way, I agree mainly with what Mark said, but if you have a disagreement with the President of the United States of America, what are you thinking? Standing up at the podium and announcing that to everybody for all the world to see? Has this entire nation forgotten how the employer-employee relationship works? Has this entire nation forgotten that everything doesn't have to be out in the open all the time? Mark, bro, you're old enough to know better. You're not some 16-year-old snot-nosed kid with his first job. If you have a disagreement with the boss, either keep it to yourself or tell him in private. You watch. Mark's going to get fired now. You watch. You know why they call me Jesse the Oracle Kelly? I mean, I gave myself that nickname, and I'm hoping it catches on. But you know why they call me that? Is it because I make these amazing predictions that always turn out to be right? Well, sometimes they turn out to be right. I just don't replay the ones that turn out to be wrong. I'm telling you right now, Mark Esper is about to be fired. This guy's going to get fired. And he has nobody but himself to blame. What a moron. Hey, thanks so much for watching the first on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.